What happens if I don't take it? Will you lose your money? Really?
Yeah, I have.
That's gonna be like $50,000 a year. Silly, I'm getting the tax on that.
She's too funny.
Don't worry about it. She's worried.
She's funny. Did you guys look at that? No, you don't go to that. I like to see the cast go. Other than that, that's a good stuff.
But I guess it was pretty good. It was a real deal, right?
I still like it. I still like it after the original.
You did? You received?
Yeah, part of an email to Mr. Branford.
Will do.
How do we tell if this was put in, this person won't be able to
Right, then we get the tape.
Just get new information right now.
No, I forgot. You want to read it?
What did they change? There's just some specific color.
So, you know, we can just put this in the record. Well, it's not going to get very
She's not gonna get up. She's gonna get up.
Somebody's got the legal notice?
Bruce does. Bruce is on it.
You better jump that ahead. You're gonna jump in.
I was in San Diego like 2 weeks ago.
Chase Bank.
I haven't been there for years.
Go see his other campus out in Naples. Or not without one. Not without. What else would you do? Look up a concert. I just wonder if you knew some
Well, I'm
stuff.
going to Portland,
Portland, okay.
Oregon for a wedding in like 2 weeks.
I'm excited to see the national park, the redwoods. I'll have to show you some. I think you did. I was looking it up, I'm like, oh, cool trees, you know? So the hike it.
Oh, yeah.
I know myself love that. Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, I've got a trip in Portland to go to the coast.
Right.
Take like a band trip out to the coast, so you can see the beaches, rocks.
Yeah. I'm excited to see this restaurant, this farm to table. They're gonna give a tour of the farm, everything. How cool.
You'll have fun.
Yeah.
Do you drive them out there?
No, I flew them out. So I'm gonna fly out there, rent a car, you know what I mean? So I flew them out this time. I didn't want to drive them out there. I rented a place in this night that I have like
Well, my daughter's just arriving from Berlin, Germany. She lives but she's coming back for lunch. She's just arriving like 10 minutes after I left. Yeah.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order North Branford special meeting for July 23rd, 2026. Please join me in saluting the flag. Please remove your hats. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce the members of the commission seated here tonight. To my left is Ron Sienna, Vice Chair for the commission. To his left is Paul Marino. He's going to be a regular seated member today. He's our alternate, but he'll be seated today as a regular member. To his left is Bruce Abelson, a regular member of the commission. To my far left is Kim Slater, our recording secretary, and sitting at the administrative table is Bruce Perkins, our Bruce. Dave, that guy over there. Bruce over there, Dave over there. I apologize. Dave Perkins, I'll get it right. Thanks, Dave. Town planner. Finally, my name, I think, is Robert Nowak. I am the chairman for the commission seated here tonight. Next order of business, consider the approval of minutes for June 4th and June 18th. Unfortunately, we do not have a quorum for either one of those meeting minutes. There was only 3 in attendance. 2 out of the 3 are here, so I'm going to pass those until next meeting. Moving on, we have public hearing and old business, and I'd like to entertain a motion to change the agenda today to have old business ahead of the public hearing, since these folks have been here before. So I'll entertain a motion to amend the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion to amend to move the old business up in, for number 4 to accommodate these people.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Bruce, second by Paul. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the agenda has been modified, so I'd like to ask Chase to come up and present to us what how they made out with their changes that we requested from last meeting.
Good for everyone? Let me know. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jack Fallon with Stonefield Engineering and Design, the civil engineer on the project on behalf of Chase. This is our second meeting in front of the board, as everyone knows. So just a quick refresher for the project. Chase is looking to move into the 3,000 square foot building, which is formerly the TD Bank. This is part of the larger shopping center anchored by the Big Y supermarket. The overall site is about 10 acres in size, but Chase is only looking to disturb about ½ acre of that. There's one existing curb cut from the internal drive out of the shopping center, which is not going to change the purpose. To support the interior renovation of the site, Chase is looking to remove one of the drive up islands, build and overlay the parking lot, upgrade the landscape. At the first meeting last month, received feedback from the board that we should add back the sidewalk along the northern portion of the site. So we made those changes to the site plan. We added back the sidewalk, and we upgraded to improve ADA accessibility with ramps on either side towards the back parking area. Those are the only changes we really made, so with that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions.
So there was, I believe there was some facade issues we had asked you to take a look at.
Yeah.
Good evening, my name is Richard Manlepig. I will be representing the architect on behalf of Chase. So from the last meeting, the comment was to incorporate more wood into the facade. In the main portions of the building where we're building out a little bit, we did replace what was initially that gray stucco colored paint with more of a Nichiha redwood. So that kind of gets wrapped around the building in a few areas of where we're building out. And in the cases where we are painting that gray, we are painting to match what would be that redwood color. So on all four sides, you would kind of get that hint of what is now more of like a wood feel for the building. So yeah, front of the building, this would all be that Nichiha material, and then a few changes to the roofing, so that is going to be changed to black. So this adds a little bit more contrast to the building, so it's not flat, but like one color.
Sorry for the delay, we're just looking at these new plans
Yeah.
right now, so we haven't really got a chance to review them ahead of the meeting.
Yeah, and I guess one thing I could point as well as we did initially have like a roof screen that was kind of painted the same color as the building. We are now cutting the tower at a higher portion, so now the unit will be hidden within the tower, so there is no more roof screen. It will just be that kind of redwood tower that hides it. So kind of less of an intrusion on the roof, also like visibility wise.
So just to, in the parking lot, I know we mentioned about restriping
Yeah.
for the walkways. You're definitely gonna restripe, right?
Everything's being restriped, so all the pavement's being replaced, and then crosswalks, parking stalls, arrows, everything's being restriped.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. Thank you.
Dave, you have anything to offer?
No, I think they have changed the facade to be closer to what you expected.
Could you remind the commission about the existing trees? Are you guys gonna prune them? Make it look more presentable throughout the whole property? I know there was no landscaping proposed on any of the property, right? Out in the exterior, Route 80 and the access road. Is that still the same, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Dave, everything on the property functions as required by engineering? I would
Yes.
assume, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, here's a difference between the two,
No, there was a difference, 9-day, yeah.
right,
Yeah,
9 day.
Absolutely.
Was much darker before, right? Yeah.
It was like a battleship gray or, yeah, just
That's more what we're looking for.
more of a New England look.
Okay. I think I like the black accent, that really makes it pop. More look. Side view. Side view,
Cut the tower.
right? Commission members have any other questions, concerns regarding the property for Chase Bank? Me with your satisfaction to what our request was?
Good.
Okay. So with that being said, I thank you guys, appreciate it, for the effort. I think, you really like it, so with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to accept the property as proposed in front of us. If you guys have a motion for that, somewhere over there?
So.
Where'd it go? There's one.
You want me to read it?
Please, you have it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So, I move to approve planning and zoning application 2026-5. Site plan request under section 23, Schedule A, line C2, for site work to include security lighting, landscaping, removal of drive-through bypass lane island, and elevation changes for the new bank tenant fit-out at 1289 Foxen Road. Assessor map 19D, lot 22, zone B-1, owner, April Acres, 1289 Foxen Road LLC applicant. Kimberly Keene, PE Consulting Corporation, as contained in submitted application documents and shown on plans entitled Site Plans for Chase Proposed Bank with Drive-Up ATM, 1289 Road, North Branford, Connecticut, prepared by Stonefield Engineering and Design, containing the following sheets.
You can just list C1 through C10.
C1 through C11, and the following architecture sheet A101 through EL104.
And I would just add that they were revised July 7th.
With the revisions of July 7th from the commission's request.
I'll second.
Read the special conditions. Same kind of procedure, Bruce.
Standard conditions or the special?
Standard and special.
You can just number them.
Standard conditions 1C through 13. And the following special conditions 21 through 23. 21 is maintain existing sidewalks and crosswalk striping, sidewalks to be ADA compliant. No signage approval. Number 23 is add architectural wood stone details to north side and east side to satisfaction of the commission.
Okay, we have a motion by Bruce, we have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Paul. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, gentlemen, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
That's right. Yes. That's a separate approval for the signage. All right, moving on to our regular scheduled programming. We have item number 5 now. It's public hearing and possible action. We have 3 public hearings. Application 2026-7, 2026-6, and 26-8. Before I move on to the public hearings, I just want to read a statement for those who are first time coming to a planning and zoning meeting, understanding how a public hearing works. The purpose of the meeting is to hear all pertinent testimony of those in support of and in opposition to the application before the commission. Public hearing will be open, testimony will be heard in the following order. Applicant explaining their application, staff and commissioners asking questions or comments on the application. General public will have an opportunity to speak in support of and in opposition to the application in the form of statements or questions. Applicant will have an opportunity to respond to public comment and provide closing statements. Staff and commission will again have an opportunity to comment. When all sides are spoken, public hearing will be closed and no further public discussion will be entertained. After public hearing is closed, the commission will vote on the application. Some of the rules for the public testimony. When addressing the commission, please speak into the microphone, state your name and address for the record. All comments should be addressed to the commission, not the applicant, be relevant to the application, and should not be of a personal nature. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Once your time has expired, please be respectful of the commission and other members of the public who want to speak. Please avoid repetitive comments. Once a public hearing is concluded, out of respect for the body, we kindly ask the audience to take discussion about the results out of the chamber so we may continue our business. Just another opening statement regarding the commission itself. Just want to remind everyone that the commission is comprised of volunteers who live in town and want to serve the community. We are not paid for our time. We come from various backgrounds and provide a different perspective of every issue presented before the commission. The commission role is to address land use in North Branford. The use of land is covered by our zoning regs in conjunction with the plan of conservation and development. In addition, we rely on expert and qualified employees of North Branford Police and Fire Department, along with our engineers and planning departments, to ensure the health and safety aspects are considered through their agency's point of views. We also rely on the town attorney to ensure that we are kept in policy and procedures for the state statute and town ordinances. Commission takes into consideration all points of views when we decipher facts from hypothetical, compare those facts against regulations, decide what is in the best interest of all town residents of North Branford. We then render a decision based on our own common sense, logic, and reason based on all the factors noted above. So with that being said, what I'd like to do is have the applicant, we'll start out with, I'm sorry, been a while since I ran a public hearing. So before I do that, I'm gonna have our regular member read into the record the legal notice for the public hearing. Bruce, would you do us the honor?
Thank you, Chairman. This is a legal notice for North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission. Notice of hereby given that the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, July 23rd, 2026, at the North Branford Town Hall, 909 Foxen Road, North Branford, Connecticut, to consider the following. A, application number 2026-7, 420 Tucket Road, a re-subdivision of parcel to create 3 residential lots. Owner, What TF LLC, applicant Paul Lamont, LP Home Improvements. And for B, application 2026-8, zoning text amendment, zoning regulation changes to be in compliance with Connecticut Public Act 25-1, applicant North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission. At this hearing, all interested persons may appear and be heard, and written communications will be received. Copies of proposals are on file for the public inspection in the Town Hall Planning Department.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
So with that being said, the applicant for 2026-7, 420 Tucket Road, please introduce yourself to the commission.
Good evening. My name is Jim Galligan. I'm from Nafis and Young Engineers. We're located at 1355 Middletown Avenue in Northford. I'm a professional engineer registered in the state of Connecticut, and I represent Paul Lamont in this application. For the record, I had just dropped off with the town planner the inland wetlands report the receipt, and the copies of the return receipt requests that were sent out as required by the public hearing notice, and the green cards that we received back. The subject application is a 3-lot subdivision located at 420 Tetoka Road. Can you hear that when I speak? This is the parcel. If you know these, if you're from town or have been town for a long time, this is Joe Boy's piece right here. This is the most northern end of his farm. He used to have the cows and everything were always located there. They had that fire many years ago where the tires was located in this location up in here. The current parcel right now has a single family house on it. They're in the process, they may actually be in the process of getting a CO at this point. Mr. Lamont is looking to subdivide 2 pieces off this parcel. The minimum lot sizes for the front lot is 40,000 square feet. The actual is actually 380,000 square feet. And the rear one is over 180,000 square feet. So both lots meet the zoning regulations. Conservation easement is being installed on the very rear part of this parcel. It will still be part of the land and responsibility and maintenance of the conservation easement will rest with lot number 3. It will not be burdened to the town of North Branford. The 2 driveways to this parcel are gravel driveways with there'll be a bituminous parking area at the top of the driveways. There is 2 small detention areas, if you will, that catch runoff that comes off the driveways before it discharges out onto the road. There are bituminous aprons at the bottom of the parcel. This was a single piece. We're calling it a re-subdivision just to err on the side of caution. The 2 houses are going to be served by water and septic, and they have sightline distances for access onto the parcel. It's a pretty straightforward application of 3 lots.
Dave, any concern on your part for this application?
Did you see the comments from the town engineer?
I did.
Okay, so one of the comments was, please provide a plan for the driveway drainage, so.
So in this location here and here, there are drains that go across the driveway at the bottom. Those drains are slot drains, if you will, across the bottom of the driveway, and they discharge into 2 small detention areas adjacent to each driveway, one for each one.
And then he also had a question about, are there street trees that are coming down, or all the trees?
They're down at the below, they're just talking about clearing for the driveways. As you can see, there's a limited area here of clearing. This area in here, there isn't clearing. And the trees up in the back, which is, as you know, is fairly forested at the top of it. It's the ridge before it goes into the state. This area here is fairly well forested and will be left in its natural state.
And I do have an email that was submitted. Do you want to talk about that now?
Sure.
From Kara Papa. I have 2 questions regarding this application. Is this subdivision permitted by right, or does it require any zoning relief for discretionary approval? So subdivisions are approved via an administrative decision by you. If the site plan and the subdivision meets the regulations, then you need to approve it. So you don't have a whole lot of discretionary, but you can make sure that all the details are submitted.
Based on the regulations in the zone
Correct.
already,
Correct.
that's already almost by a right, that the town has already granted its condition that it would be buildable.
Correct.
Is that an accurate statement?
Yes.
Okay.
If approved, what analysis has been completed regarding the cumulative impacts on stormwater management, water resources, emergency services, and other municipal infrastructure? Well, we have the letter from the town engineer with some questions that were answered by the applicant. The fire marshal was notified and did not make any comments on the plan. We did, the sign was out there. We're not quite sure if it's a re-subdivision or a
Err
first
on the
subdivision.
safer side of caution.
But as the chairman, with any subdivision, you can request a public hearing,
Okay,
which we did in this case.
and here we are.
So the sign was put up, the neighbors were notified. East Haven was notified because we're within 500 feet of the border.
Okay.
And all notifications were taken care of.
Notifications in the legal timeframe?
Correct.
All right.
For lot 3, how do you get access to lot 3?
Well, when I walk you through all three, okay, so this is the existing house and their driveway comes in here. Then this is a front lot, so their driveway is gonna come up and come to this spot. And then the rear lot 3 has a driveway that comes up right into this spot.
Total
Was-
of 3 houses.
For lot 3, for the driveway, is that the right of way for lot 2?
No, they're separate lots.
So that's a complete separate lot?
Correct.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, this lot is required by your regulations. The lot area for this lot meets the zoning regulations without this strip in here. But this is actually part of the lot. It's not an easement over there adjacent property.
So Dave, we also have Regis subdivision is similar to subdivisions, correct, as far as buffer zones? For example, I think in our subdivision regulations, there's usually a buffer between, is that rear lot, the front lot?
Correct. There should be the buffer line on the rear lot.
In here. It's right there.
The buffer line for planting trees between the front lot and the back lot. There should be a 10-foot easement for planting trees.
I certainly can add that.
Okay.
Any concern for other municipal infrastructures? Any concern for the power lines in the back of the property? Pretty far away.
It's pretty far away, and actually the conservation easement restricts access to the power lines
Okay.
and would connect to it, so it's a good natural buffer where the flora and fauna can exist.
Gotcha.
So we have a number of ways that we can deal with open space,
Yep, that's correct.
and we can give them to the land trust, you could give it to the town, you could give it to a homeowners association, or you could just create a conservation zone on your property when the property is such that it should be or could be protected for conservation purposes, such as letting the deer and the raccoons and whatever else lives up there continue to thrive.
Isn't the plan supposed to dictate to the commission what the applicant was proposing?
That's what they're proposing, it's a conservation easement.
Okay.
That's what
It ties,
this area in here is a
That's correct.
conservation easement to comply with this open space requirements.
does it tie into anything else associated in the back, what's that, East Haven and to the left?
Well, that's why we were talking about the power lines are right behind it there.
Mhm. Right.
Is there access to the open space?
No, and this area of open space is actually land of parcel number 3, but it's developed and restricted.
So it's always a sticky point for the commission for open space. It's always kind of weird. We don't really like open space unless it's tied to something else. Is that an inaccurate statement? That's more accurate than inaccurate, but it says conservation easement. So that's another, maybe I'm not understanding that proposal versus regular open space that's tied to some other
Well, it's.
community
it's-
property
I-
that's accessible.
I don't have the regulation right in front of me, but part of the motion is the conservation easement in accordance with regulations section 314C.1E, which talks about natural areas of vegetation, natural areas of, animal habitat, and protecting that just for the art of protecting nature, not necessarily giving the public access to it.
Okay, that's the difference in the terminology of conservation easement.
Correct.
Okay,
And that's the regulation that the motion points to.
all right, awesome. Okay, that, I understand that. Commission members, any questions on that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, if
What
it's
do
a
you got?
landlocked piece of property for conservation, is it part of lot 3?
Yes,
Who pays taxes on that?
lot 3.
Okay, so there's no special dispensation on,
That's up to the assessor. I have no idea.
the taxes at this time of the year are near and dear to me.
Well, if you gave it to the land trust, it wouldn't be taxed. If you gave it to the town, it wouldn't be taxed. So this way, maybe you have a chance of it being taxed.
Is it open space? It's all trees, right?
Yeah, this is all that wooded ridge. It's the ridge that goes up to the power lines and then
Right.
drops off on the other
So
side.
it's unbuildable.
Yeah, that's right. And it's significantly vegetated. It's all wooded, with mature trees.
Dave, anything else to add?
No.
Commission members? Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
I'd like to open up the public hearing for comment relative to application 2026-7, 402 Totucket Road. Would anyone like to speak in support of the project? Anyone like to speak in support of? Anyone like to speak in support of the project? Okay, hearing none. Anyone in opposition to the project and would like to speak against the project?
It's 420.
402? 420?
It's 420. Sorry.
It's going along with my day, Bruce over there and Bruce over there, so. And I'm Bob, 420. I'm having a great day, excuse me, sorry about that. So, I'll start over. Anybody wants to talk in support of 420 Totucket Road? Now I'm on the right street address, I apologize. In support of? Last time in support of. Okay? In opposition to 420 Totucket Road? Anybody in opposition? Anybody in opposition? Okay. One last chance. Hearing none.
Mr. Chairman, I motion we close the public hearing.
We have a motion, we have a second? We have a motion by Ron, second by Bruce. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed on 420 Totucket Road. Okay. Commission members, how we feel about the project? Any questions, concerned? I think Jim provided us with pretty good detail rendering of what the potential homes could be on the property. Has a lot of potential.
Yes.
Questions or concerns? Okay. Hearing none, then I'll entertain, you guys are you still looking? You let me know. Okay. I don't want to rush you. Okay. Okay. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to approve the application 2026-7.
Second.
We have a motion.
Someone needs to make a motion.
You need to make.
Not 402, 420.
420, make a motion.
There is one written up though, right?
Here's one, 420.
So, Vice Chair, oh, okay. I guess I have my glasses on.
You want me to read?
You're asking the wrong guy. So I make a motion to approve PZ, Planning and Zoning Commission application 2026-7, 420 Tucket Road, re-subdivision of lot to create 3 new residential lots with frontage access on Tucket Road. Assessor map 36D, lot 3, R40 zone. Owner, What TF LLC, applicant, Olamont, LP Home Improvements, as described in the submitted application documents and shown on plan entitled Subdivision Plan, Lamont Estates, 420 Tucket Road, North Branford, Connecticut, prepared by Navis and Young Engineers, LLC, dated June 5th, 2026, revised June 18th, 2026, and July 10th, 2026, and driveway stormwater management plan dated July 10th, 2026. Want to read the whole thing, or?
No, just with the following conditions, just read the numbers.
With the following conditions, 1A, 1B, 1C, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, and 18.
And then the special conditions at the end, 23, 24, 25.
Thank you, Dave. With special conditions, open space to be protected by conversation.
Not a conversation.
It's not a
sorry.
conversation, I know. An easement in accordance with regulation section 314C.1.E at 314.E. Easements to be part of deeds to lots. Number 25, street numbers and assessor parcel IDs to be on Mylar prior to recording. Lot 1, 420 Tucket Road, assessor's map 36D, lot 3. Lot 2, 418 Tucket Road, assessor's map 36D, lot 3-1, and lot 3, 416 Tucket Road, assessor's map 36D, lot 3-2. The commission's summary reason for approval of the subdivision, the proposed subdivision conforms to the zoning and subdivision regulation requirements. The residential development is consistent with the existing neighborhood. The application is generally in conformity with the recommendations of the plan of the I can't even say that word
Got
tonight.
that one right.
And development. Thank you. We're good.
So Bruce, can we add number 26 to provide a buffer between the front and rear lot?
Correct.
So,
Okay. So item number 26 as stated, right?
as stated.
Did I say landscape buffer, right?
Landscape buffer 10 feet.
Landscape buffer.
Landscape,
Number
And landscape
26.
buffer between front lot and interior lot.
correct.
Was it 10
Well,
foot width or
which
something?
that's lots 2 and 3,
10 foot width?
Lots 2 and 3.
right? Landscape buffer between 2 and 3.
Correct. Yep. All right.
I'm all talked out today.
I'll
We have a
second.
motion, we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Bruce motion, second by Paul. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with your project, sir. Moving on, public hearing, 2026-6, 165 Notch Hill Road. Is the applicant here to present their project?
As a matter of fact, we are.
Oh. Change your hat there. Way to go, Jim.
In my shoes.
All right.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Jim Galligan. I'm from Nathan Young Engineers, professional engineer, located at 1355 Middletown Avenue. I'm here representing that Mr. DeMayo, David DeMayo, on the application tonight. I have a couple of, some paperwork to hand in. I'm a little more comfortable doing this when I can dance and talk at the same time. So the subject parcel is on Notch Hill Road. I think we all know the piece that, once I describe it, right here is that large knob of rock where there's a sharp turn on the side of the road. There's two small driveways that lead up into this piece. The piece is about 11 acres. The site is, the address of the site is 165 Notch Hill Road. The parcel is subject to an easement in favor of 195 Notch Hill Road, and you can see the layout of that easement. It's an easement in use and not in description. It's a driveway that comes up and provides access to the adjacent parcel. And that easement and access will remain in place before, during, and after the construction of the project, and will remain untouched. I gave Dave a copy of the wetlands report. As you can see, there's a small pocket of wetlands in the southeast corner of the parcel. We're not doing any work in that area. I've also identified in blue the 100-foot setback for the wetlands. The proposal is to construct 4 individual lots. One front lot located in this location that I'm going to refer to as lot number 1. There are 2 easement strips that lead back to 2 rear lots. Referring to those as lots 2 and 3. And there's a 4th lot over in the southeast corner of the parcel, and I'll be referring to that as lot number 4. There are a couple of access easements that will be granted in favor of the various lots as the roadways climb up the hill. As you know, there's a big hill there. Much to my surprise, it's not all hill. It flattens out quite a bit when you get up to the back here. It looks like it's just all ridge, but it's not. There's quite a bit of developable land in the back there. So what we're proposing to do is, as you know, there's 2 driveways there now, and what we're proposing to do is to eliminate the use of one of the driveways. The existing homeowner adjacent to the parcel can continue to use her existing driveway and easement across this parcel. The existing easement, the existing driveway on this side actually crosses her property, and the applicant has an easement over the adjacent person's property for driveway access. He is not going to use that. He has that right, but he's not using it. He's going to be using the other driveway that's away from the access to her parcel. There's a gravel driveway that snakes up through the parcel across easements in favor of lots 3, 4, and 5, in favor of lots 3 and 4, and then over here in favor of lots 4. The driveway is at a 12% grade. Drainage-wise, this particular parcel in the back all drains to the wetlands and will continue to drain all back to the wetlands. The front part of the parcel drains down Part of it drains off of the piece untouched as it is now, and another part of it drains down, and there's a large, if you ever looked for it, you'd see it, there's a large detention area right in this corner here, and the drainage coming down the roadway will discharge into that detention area. All 4 lots meet the requirements for the zoning regulations. I did ask for 2 waivers, and I think you'll probably see why I asked for them. One, I asked for relief from the requirement for sidewalks. This is a gravel driveway for these 4 lots. We're hoping not to have to put sidewalks. And because it's a gravel road, we're also looking to request a waiver for curbing. All of the lots meet the requirements for the zoning regulations for area and setbacks. The sight lines, the sight lines in the southern direction is over 500 feet. It's over 575 feet, I think we have it listed as. And to the north, it's around 300 feet. And the reason why we moved the driveway away from the existing driveway in favor of the neighbor was because we needed the sight line to be able to meet the sightline requirements. Couple simple things you can see here. We're not working in any ways in the wetlands. We're not working in any ways in the wetland setback. There's no work on the neighbor's property in any way. The access drive is going to be left intact for the neighbor. That is an issue that has been raised to the applicant, and we responded to that by assuring them that this driveway will continue in its present condition. It's a little more complicated than the last 3-lot subdivision, but it's basically a 4-lot subdivision in compliance with the zoning regulations. This is going to be a private driveway to the back here. In several locations, it follows the existing woodlot road, as you can see it here. And it follows that woodlot up into here. Mr. DeMayo actually has additional property in the back here. He has an easement to be able to get back there. At this particular point in time, there is no interest in doing so. But as I mentioned, all 4 of the lots are in compliance with the regulations.
So tell me more about the driveway to the northern lot that's not part of the subdivision. Is that an easement?
There is an access
No,
easement.
not that one, the existing house.
Oh, the existing one. There is an existing easement on record.
Correct.
Across this property. It's not a defined easement, it's an access easement. It's an access of right. You know what I mean? It's not a variance and distance easement, it's an easement of right. And it crosses over this part of the parcel and then enters onto her parcel.
And will it be accessing any of the driveways to the newly created lots? Will it be sharing that driveway?
Well, you're right on top of this, huh?
What?
You're right. Obviously, you've been talking to the same person I have. No, the answer to that is no. Her access driveway is going to remain solely to her. There is another access driveway that's being constructed, and the reason for that is because of the grade. In order to be able to meet the grade in the back, we couldn't use the grades that go to her driveway to be able to reach the back. So we separated her driveway. I say her, I believe it's a woman that lives there. Separated her driveway from the 4 lots.
And tell me more about the easement that goes to the existing lot to the north and the east that's also owned by the applicant.
At this point, there's an easement in place for access to the back here, but at this point, there's no interest in.
But you're creating a defined easement as part of the subdivision?
That's correct, yeah.
The intermittent stream as part of the wetlands?
Yes.
Is a wetland, is under the jurisdiction of the wetland agency.
Right.
That dotted line to the intermittent stream, and what's the distance from the end of the intermittent stream to the house on that southern lot?
I'm going to say it's to the house, it's almost 100 feet. No, it's probably 80 feet. I'm not having a scale in front of me, David. I'm going to say that from here to here is about 80 feet.
It appears to me that that buffer line should have more of a point to it at the end of the intermittent stream to the buffer line should be 100 feet.
All right, you want to set this line from this point here?
Correct.
Okay.
Which means that that house would be in the wetlands, in the wetland buffer,
Buffer, thank you.
the upland review area. So as the plan exists right now, the agency would need to, wetlands agency would need to review the application prior to us acting on it.
100%.
We also have a definition in our regulations that talks about street lines and street line setbacks. And a street line shall mean the right-of-way, easement, or taking line of any street or of any easement of vehicular access or private right-of-way 25 feet or more in width. So that access to the applicant's lot that's not part of the subdivision, that, no, the other side, that house, no, to the,
At the end, Dave? At the end of the street?
yeah, that house needs to set back 50 feet from that easement,
Okay,
that 25-foot wide easement.
very
Because
good.
that's a street line, not a sideline. Or at least that portion of it. You follow me?
I do.
Have we heard anything back from the DOT? Have you talked to them?
No, we have not heard back from DOT. We have a meeting we're trying to set up a meeting with them in person right now.
Anything else, Dave?
I have letters from the police department expressing concern about the sight lines and traffic and speeding and how you're gonna get in and out of there and everything else. We have no stormwater plan.
Well, the stormwater system is just going to mirror what's
Right, but we
there.
don't have the required stormwater study
Okay. All right.
that shows how much water there is, what's gonna happen during the storm, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Those are
So,
my preliminary comments after looking at this plan on Tuesday and Wednesday.
so just looking at it right now, how in the regulations do we address the corresponding adjacent easement to the house that's to the north of the private driveway?
Well, it can be just part of the subdivision if it works. I mean, I think I need to look at it more. As I said, I've only had 48 hours to look at the plan.
So just from my engineering background, being with the state for 35 years, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, the driveway around elevation 120, midway, right? That's a fill, right? There's a cut and a fill to get the driveway just from 120 to 110? No, at the bottom of the driveway.
Go down here?
Yeah, you come up the driveway,
Yep,
right? You cut the rock on the right, and you fill left, right?
yes.
Okay, what happens to her driveway?
Well, her driveway is here.
Well, what
And is
elevation?
on-
It's a
is
lot
on-
lower.
I'm sorry?
It's a lot lower.
It is.
So the water's gonna dump on her driveway and affect her. Right, because you're doing
I'll
sheet
address
flow,
that.
you're not channeling any of the water on your driveway, you're shedding it left and right with a pitch. So all the water that's on the driveway, half of it will drain to her and down her driveway. And you are, I don't know the elevation difference, couple feet higher than her driveway, so you're like this?
That's correct, yeah.
So the water's gonna go hit her and go down there. Is that gonna be separate throughout the entire project, or will they merge at some point once your driveway's built?
Those are two options that have to be resolved between the two owners. She certainly can continue this as it is. And on one hand, I think that she could be in favor of that because then she's the only one who ever uses that driveway. On the other hand, if she wanted to combine the driveways and come back, that's achievable as well. And then that driveway could be worked out with maintenance for the rest of the driveway. So the legal part of whether the driveways are combined or not combined is still to be determined by the applicants.
You can only have a common driveway to two lots. So we have a common driveway to two houses now and another driveway to another two houses. So this would add a fifth wheel, so to speak, and probably wouldn't work from a zoning point of view.
Well, that answers that. So we will design it so that they stay apart and the drainage won't discharge onto her driveway.
Do you want to mention what we talked about on a previous application where was it the police department had requested that there be some kind of agreement for common use driveway?
That would be part of the motion, of course. Yes.
Okay.
Talk about the last house, the other one, that one.
Lot 3.
Yeah, so what's behind that house? When you walk out the back door, what happens?
This area here is it's.
No, all those little fine lines behind the house.
That's a cut. They're cut behind the house.
It's a cut. And how tall is it?
Oh, Dave, I don't have any glasses.
But it's what, 20 feet?
I don't know if it's 20, but it's good. It's over 10.
Right. So when you walk out of the back of that house, you have, what, 10 feet behind the house? And then
Yes.
you have a 10-foot cliff directly behind it to the east, right?
Yes.
So when the sun rises, you won't see it for a long time out of the back of that house.
Did we get a report from the fire department?
Yes, we have a brief report from the fire department, yes.
Nothing from the state?
What?
Nothing from the state? The only thing we have is our own police department and the fire.
He has
department.
not met with the state yet.
When you first pull in, you said you're gonna make the driveway separate. How, are you blasting all that rock that's there?
There will undoubtedly be some blasting for the foundations for the buildings, and I expect some in this corner here.
It's huge rock. And what about you said you were raising the grade, because the grade, if you kept it, you couldn't get to the back. So you were raising the grade.
The minimum slope, the maximum slope for gravel driveway is 12%. And so in order to get back to this point here, we had to grade, or rather to this point here, we had to grade at 12% to get to that spot, to minimize the earthwork in the rest of the area.
And then for the fire department, what was their input where you went from lot 1 to lot 2 with that crazy turn right there?
This is size big enough to handle their largest vehicle.
And then you have the other turn that goes the other way too.
This one. This one? Yes,
From 2 to 3 to 4.
both of these,
Yeah.
both, well, this is the tightest one, and its size big enough to handle the fire
And
department's
then so
lighting.
that spot would be another common driveway from 3 to 4. After 2 to 3 to 4, that'd be another common driveway.
Yes, this is common driveway here and a split there.
So you're pulling 4 common driveways out of that? Or 3?
4 from here,
4?
yeah, because there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. The shape of the parcel and the grades that are, especially the grades that are associated here and here, although that's not a part of our parcel, require us to work our, snake our way up the hill, for lack of a better term.
Since that's a state road, you can't cut back all the trees because the sightline, when you pull to the bottom and look up and down the road, you can't see anything because of the trees unless you nose out to the street.
Unless they require it, that's correct.
The state-
Now, when I did the two-lot subdivision down around the corner, and I don't remember the.
I don't think that corner was as sharp as this.
No,
one.
it's not. I was
No,
talking
yeah.
about the trees. They required that we cut several of the trees.
Yeah.
And they required that we extend the guide rail.
And then if they do, I don't know if they'll let you cut the trees because to the right of that, if you're pulling out, isn't that like a retention pond or that's a wetland or
Yeah,
something?
that's a retention pond. That's
So
correct.
you can't really cut the trees out of there. You're not supposed to touch it.
Well, it's theirs. It's their if they require us, we will. Again, the word is require.
How many feet is it from telephone pole to telephone pole?
250, about. Dave, you want to read the email that we received on this application too?
This is from Cara Papa, 165 Notch Hill Road. Is this subdivision permitted by right, or does it require any zoning changes or special approvals? Again, I think we went through that before. This is a re-subdivision for sure. Has the commission evaluated the cumulative impact on infrastructure, drainage, and municipal services? Well, we have the report from the police commission. We do have one from the fire marshal that I can read shortly. I don't think we've completed our study in terms of the drainage issues.
Correct.
Given the proximity of the proposed lots to high voltage lines,
Yeah, that
I
was
think
the question. Where
she
the
got that
voltage
one
is.
backwards.
Where is the high voltage, where is that off of Notch Hill? That's like right there. Isn't
Yeah.
it right near there? Maybe, half a mile, quarter mile, eighth of a mile
Down the road.
down the road?
Yeah, it's pretty far away.
Yeah, that's down right in the other subdivision. That's down where I did the subdivision around the corner, where I mentioned that I had to cut the trees, and we had to put in that guide rail. And I apologize, I can't remember the address of that.
So you're raising, how much are you raising the pitch of the grade? And what are you doing with the runoff from all that? So the grade is what it is now, which is pretty significant, and you're gonna raise it more to get to the back.
Well, we're gonna, there's a cut and this is mostly a cut through here to get to this point here. And then we try to mimic the elevations more closely in this area here.
And what'd you do for runoff, like storm drains and runoff and anything
Well,
like
it's a
that?
gravel driveway.
So the gravel's gonna run.
And the majority of it is a gravel driveway now.
Yeah.
This gravel driveway continues on up through here and then runs off like that. So our intention is to bring the runoff down to the existing detention pond, which was put in for this parcel in the first place.
That's the state property, they'll let you tap into that?
Well, yeah, yes, they'll let us tap in. And again, if required, they will. If they require it, we'll do it.
So Jim, thanks for reiterating that. And you did say it was a 12% grade.
Yes, this is a 12% grade up into here, and then we try and flatten it out here. We're trying to get up to this high point as quickly as possible because we want to try and minimize the earth excavation of the work.
So have you considered a different type of driveway system? At a 12% grade, I don't think that gravel is going to stay very long.
What's the grade now? Do you know?
He's gonna make it 12%, which is, if you go down Snake Hill, that's 7%, I believe. And he's gonna make it 12. So that gravel's not gonna stay, Jim. Might wanna rethink about stabilizing the driveway with some kind of other material, geotech or something like that. Might wanna consider that to save the homeowners aggravation and the state from cleaning up the gravel that ends up in the pond and on the road.
I'd say loud and clear.
Yes, sir.
What's the pitch now? We know what the pitch is now.
This doesn't exist because it's just, he's creating it. The picture you're
don't
talking
know- we
about
don't know
is
what
the
it is.
existing
It's still
driveway.
wet.
He's gotta build the driveway.
The woodlot gravel drive up in this area varies from, about 15 in some spots to 8 in other spots.
Yeah.
It's not great for, daily, not great for my wife to drive on.
Right.
So just take that into consideration, Jim, when
Yes, sir.
you propose a stormwater plan to the town for the engineers to look at. During construction, it's gonna be a mess,
Yep.
right? It's not gonna be established. So you need to do everything you possibly can to stabilize that as you build it. So we don't have complaints and you have an environmental mess on your hands,
Very good.
okay?
What's the regulation for coming to the street, the width of the bottom of the driveway? What's the width of the,
Well,
what's?
that's addressed, it's on a state route, so,
Has to do-
so whatever their requirement is, Jim's gonna comply to whatever that driveway apron maximum distance. I know commercial's 30 feet, a residential might be 12 or 15, I don't know. Well, 18 is is a road anyway.
Yeah, that's what I didn't bother mentioning, it's 18 feet.
The road's 18 feet.
Skipped right over that part.
Yeah, no, we appreciate that, thank you, Jim. Any other question, commissioners? Dave, you have any more questions, concerns?
Not yet.
Okay, so I want to open the public hearing and entertain those in support of and opposition to, and I'll leave it open.
Sure.
Did we
Thank
get
you,
anything-
Jim.
Did you get anything from the town engineer, Dave?
Yeah, he's got
Anything from the town?
he's got a bunch of, you have concerns from the,
Town engineer?
He hasn't had a chance to give us the whole thing. I mean, I think the biggest thing is the stormwater report. We don't have one.
it's a work in progress.
And the existing homeowners on board with everything you guys are doing there?
I can't speak for them. I did speak to their attorney today, and they asked about the driveway. I showed them what it was. He was here earlier, as well.
So before I open the public hearing, I just want to make clear for those in the audience and those who are watching later on that our typical evaluation for any subdivision is handled by the town engineering department, who addresses engineering, drainage issues, and any infrastructure possibilities that may be impacted. On the municipal services side is the police and fire department address almost every one of our subdivisions or re-subdivisions. We always present that to them for their comment. I don't think there has been a time when we haven't asked for one, and if we didn't, we usually remember to do it at a meeting like today. So with that being said, I think it's just some misunderstanding of exactly what we do, because we don't. We rely on you folks to do, town services to do their part, not so much the commission, but we ask the questions of the people that work for the town. So with that being said, I'm going to open a public hearing for 165 Notch Hill Road for those in support of the project. Would anyone like to speak in support of the project? Anyone like to speak in support of? Anyone like to speak in support of the project? Hearing none, I'll move on to those in opposition to the project. Would anyone like to speak in opposition to? Opposition to. All right, hearing none. With that being said, we have a lot of issues that need to be addressed, so I'm going to continue the public hearing to the following meeting for application 2026-6, 165 Notch Hill Road. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you very much.
You got it, Kidwood. Next item on the agenda is application 2026-8, zoning text amendment. So we're faced with making changes to our regulations from Public Act 25-1. In addition to that Public Act, the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission has been trying to improve our regulations relative to our town centers. We've always, since I got on the commission, there's always been this idea of what do we want North Branford to look like as a whole? And we've always been struggling with, no one has come up with a pictorial display of what the town centers should look like, what they want to look like. We've had Plan for Conservation and Development that in 2019 was a communicative effort that put all these components in a document for all to read and digest and move forward with trying to understand it and make changes to the town. In that document, it assigns tasks to various commissions and boards as an action item. One of the action items in that conservation of POCD, I'll call it, is to have concentrated development in the town centers, town districts, Northford and North Branford. If you didn't realize that, but that's in the document. We did an analysis, the town did an evaluation, and that was the best choice of development. And Route 80 was also another place for development, being that we want to encourage business and commercial use in those districts along with Route 80 and other places. So we kind of already worked towards identifying where we would like development to occur in that POCD. That was one of the requirements under Act 25-1, was to find places where we want development to occur. After doing some research with ChatGPT, that came to light in one of the questions I asked, that it was in the POCD already. So we're halfway there. Our form-based code that we've been working on for quite a long time captures a lot of the nuances that Act 25-1 has imposed on all 169 towns. Most of Public Act 25-1 really focuses on intermodal transportation zones, and we really don't have any of that. We don't have a bus station, we don't have a train station like Guilford and Madison and Branford. In addition to that, we do not, as a commission and a town, do not want to lose our character in developing anywhere in our farmland. We want to preserve that. That's what our POCD has identified for appropriate use of development, meaning that we would rather go up in those town centers than out in our farming community. So our form-based code that we've been working on offers a pictorial display, illustrations of what we think, the commission thinks, future development could look like. Let me rephrase that. Should be guided by. Right now, our regulations are 1970-ish, and most of the sketches in that document are hand-drawn on blueprint paper by hand. And they're pretty outdated. I don't think I am we are being progressive in that respect and want to change our document to reflect what we believe the town should look like and give future generations the opportunity to use the document that we're proposing to guide them in developing our business zones. We've always relied on developers to come in front of us and present their ideas of what they think would be good for them and develop what they were proposing to us. We want to reverse the tables and say, here, this is what we want to provide. We want to give you a choice on how you develop your property using these guidelines. And since Public Act 25-1 has mandated that any development in the business zones relative to, I forget the terminology, multi-housing development is now a right, meaning that it's just a site plan review, more or less, when someone comes to build anything new or revise their existing building. It kind of shuts out any possibility for public comment according to the act. How's that so far, Dave? That pretty right on?
Very good.
Okay. So what we're proposing in our text amendment is nothing that we've been willy-nilly about. We've taken a lot of time and effort to put it together. There is, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been on our website for how long? You did post it a long time.
8 months.
At least 8 months. November of last year, I think, we asked for public comment. It's been available if anybody was interested to go onto the website and look under form-based code and the document. And its entirety is in that spot on the website. I don't know if it's been updated on the website, reflecting the Public Act 25-1. I don't know if you updated
The
that.
Public Act 25-1 documents is in the public hearing portal on the website.
Okay. All right. So there is, having trouble where to go from here, Dave. Guide me on that one?
You want me to, I could just read the germane part of House Bill 8002, Public Act 25-1, that we're addressing outside of the parking regulation.
Okay.
This would be the draft zoning regulation update that would replace our 42.5.1 regulation for middle housing development. So the Section 16, Section 8-2S of the general statutes is repealed and the following is substituted. And it's a little hard to read it, but I'll try to read the good parts. On and after July 2026, any zoning regulations adopted pursuant to Section 8-2 as amended by this act shall, underline, allow for the development of a transit community middle housing development as defined in Section 11 of this act, or a mixed-use development on any lot that is zoned for commercial or mixed-use development, subject only to summary review as defined in Section 8-2R as amended by this act, and may allow for the development of a transit community middle housing development on any lot that allows for residential use, subject only to summary review. So you're probably going to ask, what is a transit community middle housing development? A transit community Middle housing development is a residential building containing not less than 2 dwelling units, but not more than 9 such units, included but not limited to townhouses, duplexes, triplexes, perfect sixes, and cottage clusters. So basically what this bill says is that all the towns in the state of Connecticut, by summary review, which is site plan review, must allow for residential development in a commercial zone of up to 9 units based on your zoning regulations. So you can still control the setbacks, you control the coverage, you control the height of the building, you can control what it looks like to a certain extent. But outside of that, if they meet the setback bulk standard requirements, as well as, drainage issues and health and police issues, you must approve it.
Okay.
Right now, we allow for residential development in commercial zones, but you must have commercial activity on the first floor. This bill takes away the ability for us to require commercial development on the first floor. So you could have you could take a strip mall and knock down the strip mall and stick in 9 residential units. You could subdivide that lot if you can meet the subdivision requirements and the bulk standards, and you could create 9 units on one lot and 9 units on another lot. That's what the state has dictated to us. So as part of that, we've written the regulations to allow for middle housing development in our commercial zones based on our form-based plans. This does not do anything with somebody who wants to do commercial in a commercial zone. We haven't gone that far yet. We haven't said this, this is all in just B1 or B2 for commercial. This is strictly pertaining to people who want to do middle housing development. So we're sort of trying out our form-based design on a smaller scale.
So Dave, this doesn't involve R40 or R80, correct?
Correct. This is strictly our B zones.
At this time?
Well, yes, at this time, yes. And as again, we'd like to say that our zoning regulations should always be changed and updated and are movable. They're not a static document. And we can introduce this and pass it and regulate it and see how it works. And we can change it whenever we want to change it. And again, you're working in a legislative capacity at this point. You can react to the state's requirement with any regulation you want. It's not an administrative decision where you're just simply looking at the rules and regulations and saying, does the shoe fit or not? In this case, you're like creating the shoe to fit the foot.
Dave, the 1 to 9 units, does the planning and zoning have the authority, I would say? I know that the form bases you were talking about, do we actually have how they can build it? What it looks like?
Yes.
So it can't just be like a row of houses?
it can be a row of houses, but with a form-based design, it needs to have some architectural details to it, such as dormers and a certain amount of fenestration, which is the amount of glass on the front of a building. Especially when we're in said mixed use, because this does allow for mixed use. It doesn't say you can't have commercial on the first floor.
Can I expand on that 25-1 a little bit more?
Yes, sir.
So there's a couple bullets that came out of the Public Act. Municipal housing growth plans. Every municipality must either adopt its own housing growth plan or participate in a regional housing growth plan. Municipalities must report annually on their progress implementing those plans. Transit-oriented design is another component. Encourages denser housing near trains and buses. Commercial to residential conversions, like Dave said, makes it easier to convert a vacant office building, retail space, and other commercial properties into housing. Middle housing, another component of this act, expands opportunities for duplexes, triplexes, townhouse, small apartment buildings, like Dave said. In some commercial zone projects, up to 9 units, as we just talked about. Parking reform reduces or eliminates minimum off-street parking requirements for certain developments. Infrastructure funding creates grants to help municipalities pay for infrastructure such as roads, sewers, water lines, sidewalks, and transit improvements needed for the new housing. Affordable housing incentives provides financial incentives for municipalities that meet housing growth objectives, includes affordability requirements for some large developments. Another bullet, renter and home buyer provisions, expands fair rent commissions, creates programs to help first-time home buyers, restricts certain landlord pricing. Another component, homeless-related provision, prohibits certain forms of hostile architecture designed to prevent people from sitting or lying in public places. Arguments in favor of, supports the law. Supporters say addresses Connecticut's housing shortage, should slow rent and home price increases, encourages development where infrastructure already exists, makes better use of vacant commercial buildings, helps younger families, first-time home buyers, provides incentives instead of imposing rigid statewide housing quotas. Arguments against, reduces local control over zoning decisions, could increase traffic, school enrollment demand on municipality services, may change the character of some neighborhoods, creates additional planning and reporting requirements for municipalities, does not guarantee that newly built housing will be affordable to middle income residents, could encourage higher density development in places where infrastructure and environmental conditions are not ideal. That kind of sums it up and gets away from a little bit from our land use discussion as a commission. But I thought it'd be important to kind of touch on the highlights of that. So it's not only this bill is imposing on us middle housing, it's also asking us to come up with a housing plan. So I believe Southern Connecticut Council of Governors is going to, let's just move on to that one. SCROG has significant implementation role under the act, but it's not a regulatory agency and does not override local zoning authority. Their responses are preparing a regional housing growth plan. So regional housing growth plan, SCROG, I believe, is from West Haven to Guilford and as far north as Durham, maybe? So they're looking at a housing growth plan for the region, right? So the region, they're gonna come up with how much housing is needed in the region, and then they're gonna divvy that up by town, in my opinion, but I don't know. Last I knew under, if I'm accurate or not, maybe not, but there's a movement afoot called Desegregate Connecticut. And those folks have been pushing the agenda with the legislature. I could be wrong, and I'm sure Dave will hear about it via email. That at the time when it came about when we were doing our affordable housing plan a couple years ago, and they were pushing for, or they stated that there was a 25,000 unit shortage in the region. And part of our obligation was to create 718 units over what period of time, I don't know, I could be wrong, but that was my take on it, and that number sticks in the head because I'm an engineer, so that's just me. But so the regional housing plan that we could adopt or come up with our own, based on what SCROG has provided us. SCROG is to help towns analyze housing needs, identify land suitable for housing, prepare housing growth plans, collect required data, and coordinate with OPM. And recently, SCROG staffing reflects this expanded responsibility under Public Act, so SCROG got bigger. Regional coordination. SCROG attempts to coordinate housing planning across its member municipalities so that housing growth is considered on a regional basis rather than a town-by-town isolation. This includes sharing data, mapping, planning resources. So SCROG cannot rezone land, approve or deny housing developments, issue building permits, force municipalities to approve a specific project. The powers remain with each municipality through its planning and zoning commission and local government. So that addresses SCROG. They have no power over us. However, some municipal officials and residents believe SCROG's new role gives it greater influence over local housing policy. Right, wrong, and different. Regional housing plans can shape how towns pursue future zoning changes. Towns participating in a regional plan are expected to implement the plan's housing policies and submit annual progress reports to the state. State grant eligibility and certain affordable housing incentives may be tied to compliance with these planning requirements. Supporters argue SCROG is serving primarily as a planning and technical support organization, helps towns meet state requirements while coordinating housing strategies across a region. You could ask the questions of ChatGPT and you may come up with similar answers, if not something different. So there's more to the plan than just us revising this from 25-1. So there's more to come from SCROG in this bill, where we're going to have to require to come up with housing planning, house planning, whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to have to come up with where they're going to put it, where would we want development to be, which our POCD kind of guides us already where that's going to be. And then there's a missing component to that is how do we implement that? If we have to report to the state annually our progress. It seems kind of onerous to me why the state is being held, why the town has to tell the state how we're doing with our housing plan. I don't understand that, but that's just me. I'm a simple man.
So Dave, I have a question. You brought up something. Here's an example to this. Down on the north end of Route 80, right? Let's just take a commercial piece of property that's there, and they want to put up residential homes, correct? Let's just say. Well, there's no sewers running along Route 80. You mentioned that there's grants. So there is a positive, small, that we can actually get from 22 up to the Guilford line for sewers, correct?
There is some sewer infrastructure money tied to the 8002 bill.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to pull a little positive out of this thing, okay? And I mean, and it's important, you know, that's one of the things that, as a town, we've always looked at as far as getting sewers above, you know, from 22 up to the Guilford line. This is just a possibility. Not to say, I'm not agreeing with it or disagreeing with it. I'm just looking at something that's positive out of it for the town.
Sure, I agree with you.
The state requires us to report to them?
That's
Is it
in
a
25
requirement, or is it a
days, requirement, but after we develop a plan.
But what are we gonna report to them, our plan?
Dude,
So,
you're asking the wrong
so,
person.
so right now, OPM is working on what their role in this project is from the state point of view. And they're working on it in conjunction with the COGS. So by the end of the year, there should be some sort of a template working process going on that the scribes can start looking at the plans and how they're gonna determine what developmental land means and mapping that. And then SCROG and the COGS will all have a period of time to figure out what they're doing. And interact with the towns next year, probably in the spring. Luckily, we're in the second tier of towns that we don't have to comply until 2028 or 29. We're like at the end of we're the second group. They just sort of,
That's just a couple of years. That's not too far down the line.
correct. Well, I'll be retired by then.
You know, I just want to play devil's advocate.
Microphone.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah, I want to play devil's advocate a little bit. When it developed, I heard you say that the mandate is we can't mandate parking. So if that's the case, you may find it surprising, but we do get a snowstorm every now and then. And if you have 9 houses on an acre with no parking, the place to park is on-street parking. So if you have on-street parking and the town says there's a parking ban for our snowplows to get down the street, you know, can we tow the cars? Can we not tow the cars because it's a state mandate? Then the other thing is, let's use, recently there was this piece of property that was now business, B1, I believe. But if housing went in there and the people had to park in the street, there's no shoulder on the road, so you in fact would be parking in the drive lane of Route 80. So who pays for enlarging Route 80? Because you have to have on-street parking, and then you have to have the bicycle route, and then you have to have the travel route, and do the same thing on the other side.
Can we deny a project because of all that?
I mean, for public safety, yes, that's a good idea. Can we deny something for public safety?
You can deny it for public safety, yeah. But you need to have a pretty good reason, backed up by engineering studies and reports, not just people saying, I think this is gonna happen.
Well, I think it's gonna snow next winter, so.
It might not,
What about a requirement of a bus line? That you have 2 units and more have to be on a bus line. Can we put that in as a requirement?
We don't have a bus line, do we?
Oh, yes, we do.
We do.
It goes down to the high school.
Yep.
No, just at the high school.
That's it,
Yeah.
I guess that's the only place you can put them, if we have a requirement of a bus line.
I believe we could do anything we want in our regulations.
All right.
But
So
we-
Dave, relative to Ron's comment about parking, what, is this Public Act 25-1 superseding our regulations relative to parking?
Yes,
Because we had, I believe, our parking requirement was based on number of units? Or the other
Correct.
way around? Forget.
you need 2 parking spaces for each dwelling unit.
Right, that was our edict for parking.
Residential.
Residential
Right.
parking. So this trumps that? In
Correct.
2 to 9 units in business zones?
No, it's a different,
That's a different,
they came up with a
Category.
different idea, which is,
16 or less?
yeah, 16 or less, you can't require parking. 17 or more, you can require parking, But if the developer chooses to hire a consultant to tell us how much parking they really need, we have to take the consultant's choice rather than our regulation.
Okay.
I think that,
And I think, practically to your comments, Ron, a developer's not going to develop something that doesn't have any parking where it's needed, because he's not going to be able to sell the units. I mean, it's common sense. This is more oriented towards New Haven and Hartford, where there is parking lots and off-street on-street parking. It doesn't really look at towns like North Branford or
Bolton.
Right, but
Salem
what
or
I'm seeing,
Scotland
my
or-
mind is running crazy with this, is an end run. Because you have the SCROD, which is New Haven and New Haven, okay? So New Haven requirements and their streets and their bus system and their sewer system is nothing like North Branford.
That's,
But the mandates will-
go up to Hartford and tell them.
So parking is just one element
Right.
of the Public Act, right? Our form-based is more towards what we want our town to look like and add more features to our regulations that are lacking currently. One of the features of the Public Act that actually benefited our development of our regulations was the requirement to have, which we already did in our form base, different facade components pictorially displayed in the Public Act 25-1, which was great. That'll insert right into our form base code. So I have some changes I'd like to propose for the form base before we open up the public hearing on our text amendment. What I'd like to do, Dave, on page 4 of our form-based code, standard for all lots, building setbacks, that page, I'd like it to reflect what our bulk standards are for B1, B2, B3. And so we have A, B, C, primary front setback, min, max, proposed 10, 20. I like to propose at 25, 50. The same thing with secondary front setbacks, min, max, 25, 50 from 10, 20. Side setback minimum 20 feet. We had it proposed in its form basis 10. Rear setback, I want to change it from 10 to 20. Rear setback abutting our district's minimum setback 50. Lot coverage max, currently proposed at 80. I'd like to propose it at 70. These numbers come from Schedule B, and they also come from our regulation multifamily housing district 3-48.
The lot coverage from
Lot
80.
coverage from 80 to 70. That reflects Schedule B setbacks in our B1, B2, B3 zones, I believe. One other thing the commission members should consider is in multifamily housing district on page 3-48. That was for the Firelight subdivision with 200 units on 6 acres. Remember that discussion?
yeah.
In that district, we had proposed front setback from a state highway for a maximum of 50 to 75 feet, rear setback at 40 feet, and side setback at 40 feet. So just something to consider when you're looking at making changes to setbacks. We worked really hard on that multifamily housing district proposal. And one of the components out of that I thought would really improve our form base was to bring forward as a reference to possibly just referring to that section, Dave, of that MFHD, multifamily housing district, relative to the landscaping portion. We have that in our form base, but I think it could be improved by bringing that forward into this, or making reference to the landscaping portion, where we wanted to provide a buffer from the road to the development, utilizing New England style rock walls and berms and something to reflect Tucket Mountain, I'll call it. More of a hilly kind of landscape to buffer the front of the units. Can't seem to find it off, oh, here we go. So on page 23, Dave, of our form base, we had design guidelines. Line B, it was on page 3-50 of the multi-housing district 1 through 8. Comply with 39.7 of the regulations currently in play, which basically calls out everything associated with, I believe, landscaping.
So where would that go on page 23 on F?
Yeah, somewhere down there. Yeah, because there's 3 or 4 components at F, G, H, I, J, all talk about landscaping. We can incorporate it into that one.
Okay.
On page 24, Dave, building elements. All buildings shall include or be retrofitted to include building elements to incorporate one or more of the following elements shown in the figure below. So that was this page, Dave?
Yeah.
Right? So in the building elements, it just says one or more of the building elements. Which I'm assuming David's referring to this
Yeah.
pictorial?
Correct. Which sort of points at different portions of the building without really telling you what they're pointing at, but.
Right, right. So I'd like to change it from just one
Okay,
or more.
Shouldn't be multiple?
so you just want to get rid of one or more?
Uh,
Elements to incorporate the following elements?
You should maybe have
There you
3,
go.
3 per unit.
Well, I was looking at, Paul, the primary building elements, primary materials.
Yeah.
The top, which are always lacking, and developers always come in front of us exactly telling us what they want to do.
Like we did with the bank just now.
The bank, right, you made the suggestion. Well, this supports that development by utilizing this sheet. In this statement on D, building materials and design, primary materials, 80% of each facade shall be constructed of primary materials. For facades over 1,000 square feet, more than one material shall be used to fulfill the 80% requirement.
So every 1,000 feet will have something different.
Every 1,000 feet will have something different. So how do we incorporate, for example, what we just talked about with Chase Bank?
Well, I guess this is a little bit more specific than
Right.
just sort of requesting them
Statute
to upgrade
tells
it.
them what they can use. One
So,
one of the above.
Right, I was interested in, for facades over 1,000 feet, more than one material. So he picks 2. Can we dictate 3?
The building element,
Building for the facade. I like the fact that we have a snow, I like I don't know how the commission feel about stone veneer, but I think that's really attractive and to
Yeah.
bring out part of our building,
Right.
our community with stone of some sort, with some kind of either the vertical siding with wood or combination thereof.
We put in there.
it
that
just
there has
means
to
you have to break it up with 2 different things. You're not requiring 3 things. You may just want to alternate one and one and one and one.
Okay, gotcha.
You could put a certain percentage has to be a stone veneer.
That's what I prefer,
Right.
but that's, I don't know how you guys feel
I would
about
take
it.
away the 1,000 square feet, maybe drop that down to 800, and then add in a couple hundred. Or even if you word it to a percentage of, because what if it's a smaller than 1,000 square feet, which isn't a lot. You know?
Dave, what does it mean by 80% of each facade shall be constructed of primary materials?
Well, the other 20% can be whatever you want.
Okay,
Which maybe we should drop that or change that to like a 70-30, 60-40.
so each building facade shall be designed to incorporate a minimum of 20% transparency. Is that glass?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other 20% is glass,
Right, so you're chopping,
right?
you're making it more attractive than just one block.
One big brick wall, right?
Maybe even take the bricks out,
Really want brick?
you know, just take the brick right out. Let them come to a proposal with something different.
So Dave, if he comes in front of us with concrete, that's not part of this project, right? Concrete slip forms or stand-up walls?
Well, that cement board, I think might fall under that, right?
Yeah, that
Well,
cement
it's a-
clapboard.
Yeah.
What's the one in the lower right-hand corner?
That's the cement board.
So you don't want just cement, this is broken up cement, right?
More like a stucco?
Well, it's like, you know, embossed concrete. It's got some character to it.
Right. Okay, something to think about. That's kind of what I was looking at, but. Commission members have any questions or comments relative to the form-based zone that we're proposing?
I like those changes.
Okay. So with that being said, Dave, you have anything regarding this topic?
No, I think I've said enough.
Me too. Sorry for the audience indulging in our banter up here, but it is a public hearing, so I'm going to open up the public hearing to anybody who's in support of or have questions. At this point in time in the night, anybody want to speak about this topic, come on up and have a go at it. In support of or opposition to? Name, address.
Eddie Lawton, 1355 Middletown Avenue, Northford. I've been a long-time resident here, and just reading through all the information, it kind of pertains to us and what we do, so just trying to understand the whole thing, and I totally agree with what you guys are doing to make a more vibrant and walkable community with more housing in the right places. My concern isn't with the vision of it, it's just how some of these regulations might affect in practical use. But again, I'm in favor of making the centers look very nice. It's, you know, what we want as well. A few things that stood out to me, some things are a little complex, so it might discourage some people trying to invest in the town. For example, I noticed, and I could be wrong, but it said per lot, there's a maximum of 9 units per lot. So my question would be, does that pertain to a 1/4 acre lot and a 3 acre lot? Because all lots are different sizes, so if 9 is just the straight number, you could build 9 houses or 9 apartments on a very small lot, but limit a 3 acre lot to only building 9. So this would have prevented the project that we built in Northford Center, because we're approximately 3 acres. It has 12 units right now, and we've been very well received with the town, and a lot of people don't even know there's apartments there. So just want to take that into consideration. Again, people have been happy in the community about, you know, bringing mixed use and all that kind of stuff. Another note, I noticed the floor height requirements for commercial and residential, and having the 2.5-story maximum. But when we built our building, it's 2.5 stories basically. But just like the ceiling heights and everything didn't really make sense. We had to be very like strict on what we could do to achieve that 3rd floor. And it just wouldn't have been possible to do it, building it into the roof line. Another thing would be I love dormers and I love, architectural features and stuff, but one of the things I wanted to note on the dormers with the spacing and the width requirements would render the 3rd floor pretty unusable to maximize the space. I think we did a pretty good job of maximizing the 3rd floor space while also making the building aesthetically pleasing. So again, I'm just trying to think if we wanted to do the same thing ever again, or looking back in time and saying we wanted to do this project that was very well received, we actually couldn't have done it with some of these things that are in there. So I just wanted to point that out. I don't know if this pertains to the regulation of the 25 one, but a suggestion would be if you were to allow residential or have the concern about a Chinese restaurant in the strip mall being an apartment next to, businesses, could you make it a requirement that it has to be a separate building that's residential, so it's completely separate than the commercial within the same property? And I'm glad you mentioned something about the setbacks, because that was also one of my concerns, just in a practical sense. And also, I just want to reiterate what you said. I'd rather encourage multifamily housing in our centers and rather than creating pressure for more multifamilies in residential neighborhoods. And I think with this regulation, it kind of gives someone the right to do a duplex or a 3-family in a regular neighborhood. So I think encouraging more in the centers kind of helps with that. Something else I noticed, it said 10-foot sidewalk requirement. I didn't know if that's the width of the sidewalk. It has to be 10 feet. That seems, if we have thousands of feet of frontage, it's quite expensive. So I don't know if there's something that could be done about that as well. Because in all honesty, and I know Member Sienna mentioned sidewalks, and it's very important. And honestly, I would love to save up to do sidewalks on our complex eventually. It's just a money thing. If I had $1 billion, I'd do it tomorrow. And I love walking in different town centers and using sidewalks. So just making it, if that is going to be a requirement, not as burdensome, just because construction materials are so expensive and labor and stuff like that. And the facades, again, I agree with making facades look good. I think good design should be the goal rather than specific materials, because sometimes someone could spend a ton of money on something and it looks like garbage. It's how it's put together and how it looks cohesively, if things match and that kind of thing. So just keep that in mind as well. And then I support continued investment in North Branford and the centers, lifelong residents. So I want to, encourage that to other people. And then just, again, making so many restrictions kind of prevent, the biggest thing for me was just looking back, it would have prevented what we did that was so well received. It created housing, it created commercial storefronts, a coffee shop, real estate office, that kind of thing. And people really love it. So I just wanted to say that. So that's it. Thank you for your consideration.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak against the topic for our text amendment? For or against? Open for anybody to have a conversation with us. Anyone? Okay. With that being said, and hearing none, Dave, I want to circle back to the email, 2026-H from Kara. You want to touch on that before we?
Again, an email from Kara Papa. My primary concern is ensuring that both the commission and the public have access to the most current information before adopting permanent changes to our zoning regulations. At previous meetings, I requested that representatives from SCROG attend a public meeting to explain the requirements of the Public Act, answer questions, and clarify how the legislation will affect the town. My understanding is that OPM continues to develop implementation guidance with the COGS. If that guidance is still evolving, I respectfully ask the commission to consider delaying action on these amendments until residents have had an opportunity to hear directly from SCROG and ask questions. So again, that's about the growth regulations that really aren't germane to our zoning issues tonight. Residents deserve a clear understanding of which zoning decisions remain under local control, which changes are required by state law, how public participation will occur under the new framework, what role the P&Z Commission will continue to play in future development decisions. The more transparent this process is, the greater the public's confidence will be in the decisions that follow. Well, I think we've had a pretty transparent, clear discussion outlining a lot of what's going on.
I would agree, Dave. To some, it's still clear as mud. Quite frankly, it's, what we're talking about and have been talking about is nothing is cut and dry. It's so voluminous that it takes the commission members a heck of a lot of volunteer time to try to figure out exactly what is being proposed and how it's going to impact the town. So we appreciate the feedback and welcome any additional emails into Dave for our conversation. So with that being said, I would like to continue the public hearing with the changes that we talked about today. Do we have a time frame, Dave, for our public hearing, or is it unlimited? It's not a 60-day, 120-day?
It's unlimited with us, yes.
Okay. So I'd like to propose, with the commission members' approval, that we continue this discussion for the next first meeting in September. I hate to have a conversation next month when I'm unable to attend.
You won't be here?
I'm still, my work shift still is the same. So hopefully in September it improves. So with that being said, do we have anything, so we're all set with that, right?
Yes, sir.
We don't need a motion or anything, right?
No.
Just gonna continue the public hearing. Okay. Next is new business, which we don't have, other business, and then Dave, we have your town planners report. Anything you have to
I
offer
have
today?
Nothing to report, other than I'm still here.
You're still here. Yeah, we appreciate you.
Still
Thanks, Dave.
reporting.
Anything on Rite Aid? Rite Aid still dead, is that issue, Rite Aid? Rite Aid,
Northford Center.
Northford Center.
What about it?
Yeah, what happened to the building?
Anything going on with that, or is it still?
Oh, I had an inquiry about a possible child daycare going in there. That was the last conversation I had.
How about the cutting the shrubs and everything, the sightline when you pull out of there is getting horrible. I stopped calling that guy, I guess, but there's.
I will call him tomorrow.
There's somebody, it's the different guy that's there now?
I will call the owner tomorrow, Paul.
It's just bad, it's just bad.
So that building wasn't sold?
I don't believe it's been sold.
Was the sign?
I think they switched.
They've changed
Oh,
realtors.
is that what it is?
Yeah,
There's no sign up.
No, they changed
someone
realtors.
probably ran it over, you can't see.
Oh, people were questioning like, so what happened to the building? There's no sign.
We need to step in for that before something happens over there. Coming out of that store.
With that being said, Mr. Ron, would you like to take us home?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
First, I'd like to thank the few people that showed up for discussion on 25-1. You people in TV land, our discussion and the document is online, so please review it. And that being said, I motion we adjourn.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. We're out of here at 8:40. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Dave.
I didn't hear. I'll say that once. Thank you.
Bruce, no, Ron.